Good afternoon. This is episode 37 of the Contextual Podcast. Again, I am flying solo. As I say, this is going to become a weekly little spot, doing one on my own, and then hopefully I'll have a guest on later in the week. Couple of things I want to talk about. One of them, I've got a very big smile on my face, so we'll go into that later for obvious reasons. If anybody who listens to the podcast knows what I'm talking about, and it ain't gaming. So I'm going to do a little bit of a news section each week, just a couple of things that sort of relevant to me really as a gamer, and hopefully anybody who's out there, just what I'm into. There's no point in me going through a list of stuff from Eurogamer or IGN or M4G or whatever, because a lot of it isn't relevant to my gaming taste, and I'm just reading off a script sort of thing. So a couple of things have caught me interest this last week or so, which I sort of want to get into and just briefly talk about. And then I'm going to have a chat about old school PES. It won't be the podcast without a bit of PES one way or the other, whether it's slagging it off or whatever. And then we're going to talk about a couple of films I've watched. This is in homage to Mr. Pixel Hunter, who's going to be on. I've been speaking to Andrew the last couple of days. We're going to have Andrew on doing the TV and film stuff in the next week. And then I'm going to talk about football. Big smile this week. Then we're going to have a little chat about the UFC, an event I've actually missed off when I was mentioning it last week. And then just the last thing, sort of a bit of a plug on the new podcast and everything, which is Comics in Motion. So give us a follow on Comics in Motion P on Twitter. This week it's actually the Kingsman Secret Service, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, so first thing, bit of news. So a couple of things, I've only picked up on a couple of things. And one of them I've already been playing is the remaster for Burnout Paradise has come out. Now, I had this game on the 360, the PS3, completed it on both of them as you can, played it online, absolutely played that game to death. All the boards, most of the achievements. I don't think on the 360 I've got all the achievements. The PS3 I was pretty close with all the trophies. So it's been actually developed by Criterion in collaboration with Stellar Entertainment over down in the UK. I think it's down Guildford way, and it's great, to be honest. It's 4K on the Xbox One and PS4, 60 frames per second, everything really. It's coming in at $29.99 on the Xbox Store. Been playing it. I mean, if you've got the EA access, you can actually do a 10-hour trial, which is worth it, to be honest. You can see where games like Forza Horizon have got the origins for, and I mean, I don't agree with the Need for Speed stuff and how they binned off Burnout, because Burnout's one of sort of their best franchises. EA, Burnout 3 is synonymous. The crash mode is unbelievable. Burnout Revenge, things like that. They did absolute. When I remember playing for the first time on the PS2, and that absolute world class. And I've still got Burnout 3 on the original Xbox, which I'll put on just for the crash mode. And obviously Paradise never really had the crash mode. It was all sort of built into the races and stuff where you could knock people off and take them down, but it wasn't actually a designated crash mode, which was brilliant back in the day. So I know a lot of people are kicking off a little bit saying it's the wrong Burnout, but for my personal taste, it was always one of my best racing arcade games. I mentioned it a few times on the podcast. So if you get a chance and you're not too sure, just get the access 10-hour trial. It may be enough for you. I mean, I've played it this weekend and played a good few hours on it, and I still enjoy it. I mean, I know where everything is and the boards and that, but it just feels, and I spoke to Masonic Gamer, Brad, and he's been playing it, and he put me onto it originally regarding the tightness of the controls. It just feels a lot easier. Not easier, but it feels a lot better to control. Maybe that's because of games like Forza. They've had to sort of tweak things in that, and obviously the Xbox controllers are different now than 360. So, I've not played it on the PS4, to be fair. So, I like the PS4 controller, to be fair. Xbox will always beat it, especially my Elite controller. But the PS4 I do like for first-person shooters. But yeah, it's real good, and it looks great in 4K. I mean, if you've got the 360 version, it still upscales it through the backwards compatibility, which I had played it before this come out. Now, I must admit, I've got the 10-hour trial, and I will get the game, but I don't think I'm going to get it until it goes down to about 20 quid. Not because I'm being tight or anything, but it's one of them where I will play the game and I'll pick it up and play it, just bomb round the map. And I love the music. I mean, the music's great because they've kept all the music. You know, you've got Guns N' Roses, Paradise City, which I had as my ringtone for a long time. And then you've got like Adam and the Ants, Stand and Deliver. There's just a load, but the music stayed exactly to the original. By those sounds of it, there's no licensing issues, so it's just carried on. So we're proper taking me back to around about, I think it's around 2008, 9, 10. I was on it constantly. I mean, one of the modes, I don't know whether it's available on this, we were talking about this the other night, was if you had the Connect on the 360 and you were 7 years or 8 years in a lobby, you could all play, and when you took one of them down, it took a picture of you as you got took down, and we went through this thing where we were peeing about, getting changed, and one of my mates sort of trumped all of us, Jay, and he had a full scuba diving outfit on every time we crashed into him. How the hell he played the game, I do not know. But it was just one of them daft things he integrated in with the camera when the Kinect first come out. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend it. If you've never played it, it's worth a go, definitely. Even if you just get the EA access, which you can pick up for around about 17 to 20 quid, which gives you access to all sorts of stuff. Like they do the Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4. I sound like I'm doing a promo for EA now, but EA access is $3.99 a month for it. It's about £17 to £20 a year, £20 on Amazon. And honestly, you get demos of FIFA, things like that, a week early, all the latest EA games. It's definitely worth it. So just give it a try, see what you think. That's my recommendation for this week anyway. And then the next thing I wanted to chat about news-wise was probably, now it's becoming probably one of the biggest games ever, which is quite unbelievable considering PUBG was the game last year. But Fortnite has really, really overtaken it. Now, I downloaded Fortnite when it first came out on the Xbox One and PS4, and I was playing it to death. You know, I mean, now I'm on PUBG, as everyone knows. That's like my game. I absolutely love it. And, you know, but Fortnite I still will put on. It's a lot easier than PUBG shooting-wise, but you've got the building mechanics, which is sort of like the anyone who's good at shooting doesn't really matter because it's how much you can build and defend your sort of base towards the end as the circle closes in. But it's been announced this week, which is unbelievable because there's been so many updates and stuff. And good old Brad had sent me a code, and we've been doing a bit of single player that because he'd never played it and he's been enjoying it. And we've done like a lot of the sort of like a horde mode type things where you build in and just start sort of killing waves of enemies. But yeah, it's now coming to, it's out on obviously PC and Mac free, and it's coming out on mobile today. Now I've just checked it now at like 2:30 on Monday. It's Monday the 12th today, and it's not live yet. I presume we're going off American time, so it's probably going to be about 8, 9 o'clock tonight, but it will be available on mobile. But the big sort of breaking news, which is good, and I know Microsoft are pushing this, is cross-platform play. So you can play across all these different consoles and the mobile PCs and Macs and play against each other, which is great. And it's something that a lot of gamers like myself have been calling out for. I understand keyboard and mouse wins every time in most first-person shooters, but you get a chance. I played a controller on PC games and I've done all right. Overwatch and that, I'm not near the bottom anyway when against keyboard and mouse and stuff, but certain games it will come unstuck on, especially when these aim assists. So it's just a good thing. But the sort of bummer for anyone is we know how much the PS4's trounced the Xbox One this generation. Even everything Microsoft doing is proper pro gamer, and the original stuff Sony was pro gamer. But as this generation's gone on and Microsoft have had to put their ideas up after, you know, we all know the 2013 E3 disaster, the reveal of the Xbox One. But the PS4, they're not interested in cross-platform play at all, which is it's strange, really. I mean, you'd think they'd do it. They've got a massive user base, and Xbox One against PS4 would be just like the ultimate console war. I mean, I've got both consoles, most people have, but it's just a bragging rights thing that they could have, and I don't think it saturates or takes away anything from Sony or Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft are all for it. Yesterday on Twitter, you've got Phil Spencer there, head of Xbox, and he's saying, like, you know, we want cross-platform play, and he said, me too. And then Epic, obviously the Fortnite official account, come up and said me 3, and, you know, and it's obviously something Sony don't want to do. I don't know. I'm not saying necessarily it's an arrogance thing, but they have the user base, and because of this, Fortnite across every single platform has just overtaken PUBG. Once PUBG becomes available on PS4 and that, it'll soon catch up. But I mean, you're watching these things last week. You know, Fortnite, if you've not got it, I'd download it. It's a great game. And if anyone is listening in the UK, there's been this stupid press witch hunt against the game, you know, slagging it off, saying that, you know, kids are doing this and they're not going to bed and they've got no manners, and it's absolute nonsense. It's not a Grand Theft Auto type game. Yeah, it's a shooting game, but it's a cartoon sprite-based game, you know, like a battle royale. It is what it is, you know, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And you know, we got this morning, the other day, have you got parents out there who are concerned about the kids playing Fortnite? Nobody had heard of Fortnite 6 months ago, you know, at all in the UK or anywhere else properly. It was sort of soft released around August last year. And then once the Battle Royale mode come, the game has just grown into this monster. And quite rightly, you know, Epic have done the business. I mean, PUBG's built on Epic's Unreal Engine. So it's pretty similar, even though PUBG were kicking off and Brendan Green saying, you know, they've copied their format. The Battle Royale's not a format from anything, you know, and I was speaking earlier to Brad, and H1Z1 has now been released free, which is what the origins of PUBG is from. That's now free to download. So obviously on PC, I don't think it's out on Xbox and stuff, but it's just these little things. But any of the scaremonger stuff with Fortnite is absolutely ridiculous. It's just pathetic. As usual, it's the gaming press, a gaming community getting, or gaming in general getting a pacing off the press because someone's kicked off once because someone, you know, something's happened to their kid. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't agree with that. And Fortnite's not the sort, it's not a Grand Theft Auto type game. So it's not the sort of game you can really pigeonhole. Yes, maybe the hours spent on it, things like that. But that's the parenting issue where that's down to them to tell the kids to go to bed and, you know, turn the Xbox off, turn the internet off. I'm sorry. The buck stops with parents. I've got a 17-year-old daughter and I want to do this. I'm quite serious this for the contextual. But I just thought I'd stand up for gaming because I hate these articles regarding gaming's this, gaming's that. Absolute bullshit from China. I'm sorry, it is. It doesn't mean anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you haven't downloaded it, download it. But it should be available on all mobile platforms today. As of now, it isn't available. It's usually off American time, so I reckon around 8 o'clock tonight it should hopefully go live. But just keep checking anyway on your app store if you want it mobile. I mean, I've got a version of PUBG on my phone, on the iPhone, where I've got on created the Chinese Apple account to download it, and it's the official game. It's the full game as such, but you can play it, and I quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I think there's a bit of aim assist on it because obviously you're on mobile and stuff, but you can use a Bluetooth controller. How much mileage is in it, I don't know. It's just something to sort of pick up and play and mess about with. So yeah, we'll see on that. So that's all the gaming news I'm throwing at you this week. So I've been on my little soapbox there. It's not usually like me, but just had to be done. Anyway, let's I want to talk about old school PES. Now, obviously, we've given 2018, 17 a little bit, a bit of a hammering as always. And, you know, I don't want to come across all the time as just a constant, anything positive Konami do regarding the game. We just, you know, we see it as we just attack it, which I genuinely don't. It's just a build up of absolute nonsense that's gone on and the lies that they spin all the time and stuff and the PR stuff. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's my opinion. It is what it is. But I decided this weekend to put my Xbox on, my soft mod. My nephew was coming round. He wanted to play a lot of the N64 games, so Mario's on there and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what, while I wait for him to come round, I'm going to put PES 4 on the Xbox. Now, on the original Xbox, PES 4 and 5 were the only ones released on it. Up to PES 3 was always PS2. And it always looks slightly better on the Xbox. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not aged well looks-wise because I'm still waiting for this HDMI upscaler. I'm hoping it's going to make a slight difference to the sort of picture. But as a game, and other than the 8-way directional movement, which is not a bind because you're used to it from playing it years ago, but you can tell a difference of how sort of freer you are with the 32, I think it's 32 direction movement now, where it was always 8-way Pro Evo, and then it was 16, I think, for FIFA. I'm sure it might be 16, I might be wrong, but you can just tell a different, it looks a bit more organic now, but as a game, it's so much better to play. You know, you lose, even down to the FIFA stuff now, you know, and I like pro clubs, as I keep saying, but as a game, the old school PES stuff was amazing. And what I wanted to bring up was regarding the Masters League. I've started a Masters League. I started it on 5-star, because it was still a 5-star rating then, which now would be, it used to be top player, and obviously now I think it's a 6-star, which is superstar or whatever. And I've started it, but what I don't understand is, as the game's evolved, why, as a fan, and it's nothing to do with the gameplay now, this is just an aesthetic, why did they get rid of Berger, Costolo, Espimaz, and Espimaz, or whatever he's called? You know, all these players who were Matt as well. You know, all these players who were synonymous with. I mean, I apologise, I'm probably crucifying the names here of these players, but they're all like Ioga and all that. And they're all these players who, for the Masters League, they were synonymous with the default players. So I started it. I played 2 games, I drew 1, lost 1. But that was Masters League. You know, it's a hard game to master, and the little things are coming back to me as I'm playing it. And I'm thinking, I think Konami must have took a decision at some point. And it's something that gets asked on social media so many times regarding Pro Evo. Why did they get rid of the default players for Masters League and just replacing our generic ones? Because they're like special agents in my club, and I just think it's just one of them little things, again, where someone said, you know, we've got to move on now. We need to move on and get rid of it. But they were like the foundation of the game, and anyone who's played Masters League, they meant so much, them players. You know, Berger was pretty rubbish, but you could put him on the right wing because he was really fast. Costolo was just like an absolute demon up front. He was good at heading and stuff, and you could always get a tune out of him into the season and that. And it's all these little things where you're thinking, gosh, they lost the way so much with a lot of the things they've done, Konami. They're trying to evolve the game, and I think the core stuff's just not there like it was. And, you know, I watched a lot of videos on the Win 11 blog forums, and Alan, who I keep saying he's going to come on the podcast, but sort of schedules are crossing over, but he's putting some good videos up, and he's doing a couple of YouTube sort of streams, but turning them into a bit of a chat, discussion, podcast. And, you know, I've listened to a few of them, and he's got valid points, but I think a lot of the time, I think it's the patience side of it. It's just not there now for me personally. I might be being overcritical, but when I watch that game, all I see is just faults and problems. And don't get me wrong, playing PES 4 there's a couple of issues that come back to me, like that, the slowness of the keepers once they've got the ball and they've made a save. How, you know, they don't release the ball as quick as they do now. I mean, Konami sort of addressed that over the last 3 or 4 years, but it was a massive pain. It was the same animations up to 2012 that the keepers were making, the way they had to sort of reset themselves to throw or kick the ball out, things like that. But it's really an interesting sort of conversation to see 2003, probably PES 4 come out, 2004, and you're thinking, how could they have had it so right all that time ago, you know, 14 years ago? And how could at times now it be so wrong? You know, and it plays football, it plays as what football is. And I'm thinking of restarting playing PES just to see, and also I'll be the first one to hold my hands up and say when I'm doing the podcast, I was wrong, you know, that I am enjoying the game or whatever, but I just can't see it. And I'm going to put it on this week for next week's podcast and just see how I'm going to go on. I mean, I'm going to put my club on, and I know I'm going to get licked about 5 or 6-0 straight away when I put that disastrous mode on. I've probably got about £1 million worth of bloody credits or something, so I can buy a load of players again that will still get beat on. So we'll see on that. But the Masters League as well and things like that. So I'm just going to go on. I think I might do a few one-on-one games and just sort of download it. So I'll keep you posted on that. Because as the game's gone, I mean, it's not evolved or been updated properly. There's been no proper gameplay patches, which still baffles me this day and age. When you look, and you know, you've got the flip side of it. FIFA's had 7, 8, 9 patches, and some will say, well, he's still not got it right, but they've still improved stuff. They still know where they've got to improve. I still don't understand. It's obviously a budget issue with Konami in that, but why they can't just improve some of the things, some of the core things that needed, like the keepers and the defensive positioning and the shooting as well. There's no real variance in the shooting. Now and again, you'll see a corking goal and move, but there's just nothing there. It just doesn't feel organic enough. So I'll see next week how I go. But gameplay-wise, if you've got the old PS2 Xboxes, then definitely get on the old PESs. You know, I've still got all my collection from every single one. I am looking at starting to get the ISSs back for the PS1 as well. I think I'm going to get some of them because I still love them. The old Roberto Larcos up front with Ronaldo, put the left back up front, 90-odd pace and shot and stuff. It was great. Great game. So, again, you know, as this has gone on and we've got to like episode 37, I do want to evolve the chat. So I've sort of gone backwards to see the origins. And one of the reasons I've gone backwards as well is regarding the streaming, because I've got a HDMI upscaler, which is taking an age to come. I've made a mistake, really. I should have bought one from the UK, which I thought I had. But it's this little thing that they do on eBay now where some of them will put a UK address in. And then when you actually get the order through, he's coming from China. So, and also I've read some bad things about these upscalers as well. Some say they're good, some say they're bad, and so he might be absolutely pissing in the wind here. So I'll see, but I will need it for the streaming because I want to be able to stream the old Masters Leagues. I want to start with the original PES on the PS2 and then work my way up and just do a season on each game, and just to see if my opinion on it has changed. And I'll stream it to my YouTube. I'll stream it through Mixer, but I'll stream it to my YouTube channel as well once I've put each sort of game up. Whether I stream every single game, I'm not sure, or I do part of the season and maybe do a bit like what Andrew does. And sorry, Andrew, I'm not copying you, Pixel Hunter. He's just do the main stuff where it means that maybe if I do get to a cup final or I need to sort of stay up, I'm pretty sure on the old PESs, I'm not going to be at the top of the league in the first season. That's all about momentum and building your team. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'm hoping it's going to be here in the next week so I can start that, because I'm itching to start some proper streaming. I've done some of the retro stuff, which it's gone down really well, actually. Like, what I want to do is, because I've got that soft modded Xbox, it's got so many arcade games on it. Honestly, you can literally ask me for a game and it's got it. I press the arcade ones. I mean, console-wise, I've got a spread across, like, my Mega Drive and Master System are covered on my Raspberry Pi, Retro Pi. So I've got them. So I'm looking into a lot of the old Mega Drive stuff. I want to start playing stuff like Desert Strike and Access. I love that game. And even the golf stuff that I played a lot of, just to see if it's, I mean, Desert Strike's great. It's still now, I've played it a few times. So I'm definitely going to get into streaming that. And then I played a bit of Final Fight the other week, which was good. And my mate Mark was watching me. And I'd not realised, to be fair, 'cause it's been that long since I used to play it in the arcade, like Guy's missing off the SNES version. And then I've actually just got Final Fight, the Guy edition, which is obviously a mod, but I've got it on my soft modded Xbox. So it's just sort of things I'm going to start bringing in as we go on. I tried to carry on playing Crash Bandicoot at request the reviews of Steve and Randy. I just can't do it. It's so hard. I think it's one of these, it's just so frustrating. And I must admit, it's one of these things where we were playing Mario 64 this weekend. It's a great game, but the camera's terrible. For what it was at the time, I know that was one of the complaints with the camera. It's absolutely awful when it decides to reset itself. And it ruined some of the immersion in the game. But it also, what was quite apparent was how easy some games are now, because there's no fail-safe with them old games. Like, we were doing certain things, and once you got killed, you're going back to the start. You're like, oh, no. But that's what old school gaming was about, mastering it. Whereas now, there's a lot of cues and save points. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted on that anyway. So, from gaming, I think that's all I want to talk about with gaming this week, is a couple of films I've watched. Just a quick one. This is to my mate Pixel Hunter, Andrew. Hope you're listening, pal. Just what I've watched. Just a quick review of them. Me and Sam decided it was Mother's Day yesterday in the UK, and obviously she gets to decide what we watch. Now, we watched, it may surprise you this, but we watched Paddington Bear the other week, and the first one I actually really enjoyed it. So I didn't think I was. I pulled my face, thinking, I'm not watching this crap. But it was really good, really good. It's just a family film, more aimed at, obviously, at the kids, but good enough. The voice of Paddington, I couldn't piece together who it was because you hear that voice, but it's actually Q off the new James Bond films with Daniel Craig, the young lad with the glasses. And he's Paddington. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, he's Paddington, which is good. But we've just watched the second one yesterday, and I really, really enjoyed it. And, it's not my sort of action or anything sort of. It was just a feel-good family film. It's like something you'd see on the old CBeebies channel, BBC stuff, and that. It's just like an extended episode that you see. But I really enjoyed it, and me and Sam sat there and watched it. If you got a chance for the family, I'd highly recommend it, and it deserves all the reviews it was getting. And even though it's made up and it's a bear and it's a CGI thing and that, it's very, very well acted. So yeah, get on that. Now, another film I watched, which I had no intention of watching, and it's only because of my dear wife having control of the TV movie situation yesterday, was The Greatest Showman with Mr. Hugh Jackman. All I'm going to say to you, as a contextual review, not a comics in motion review, because obviously I do not swear on that, it was fucking garbage. That's all I'm going to say. It was a musical. There was a bit of a backstory, which was quite interesting, but within 2 minutes, we've got the full theatrical singing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a cliched bloke. I grew up watching a lot of the old musicals. As a kid, I loved Singing in the Rain, Gene Kelly, it's called Gene Kelly. Debbie Reynolds, who's obviously Dingy's mum. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia. I love that film. Absolutely loved it. Donald O'Connor was in it. I absolutely loved Singing the Rain. So I'm not a typical bloke, when it's got to be 15 people getting killed and that. I love all my action stuff and that, but I was partial to the odd musical when I was a kid because of my mum and things like that. But this was just like, it was like that, but for the modern time. And Hugh Jackman, I know this is where his origins are, the theatre and this sort of thing. And it just did nothing for me. He's always going to be Wolverine. And I know you should look beyond that as a part, but I just couldn't. It was just, I don't know, it just wasn't me. And it was an hour and 40 of my life I'll never get back. Sam loved it, and that was the main aim of it. And she spoke to a lot of her friends on Facebook, and that they all enjoyed it. But for me, it did nothing for me. And it will not be going on my list. And as me and Dave, if anyone listens to the other podcast, we have a review, and we've got a 1 out of 5, and that is sent to the fandom zone. And I wish that I'd gone there. Anyway, so if your missus wants something to watch it, but make sure that you've got your eyes tattooed on your eyelids when you have a kip, because I will not be watching that again, ever. Sorry, Hugh. Love you as Wolverine, but for me, Anyway, let's go on to my main topic of conversation today, the weekend's football. Now, obviously, as a big Manchester United fan, United v Liverpool was supposed to be the game where Liverpool come of age and whip us, lick us, take us down, take down Old Trafford. We had all this noise that they were going to whip us 4 or 5-0, and we beat them 2-1. Now, I went to the game, obviously in my seat, Stretford End with Jordan. I had a bit of chat with Brad, who's a big Liverpool fan, and he isn't actually endorsing this week's podcast, funny enough. He's already warned me that he will not be promoting or sharing it, which is unfortunate. But I got told that, what they'd see, Liverpool fans, and not just Brad, but anybody, Brad was pretty all right, but he did think they were going to win. But a couple of others were giving it me big time, saying, United rubbish, reading the paper, Mourinho's going to park the bus, Mourinho's going to do this. And don't get me wrong, second half, we pretty much did that. But we'd done the damage in the first half. We played that well. It should have been 3 or 4 in the first half. Liverpool just didn't turn up. And I just thought the game plan was executed really well. And it's one of them things where if Liverpool were such a good team, they'd be above City, wouldn't they? Let's be honest. They'd already be above us. They'd be above City. Early in the season, they were calling for Klopp to be gone. And then all of a sudden, they get a few games. Once, when Coutinho was going, they weren't playing that great. And they were all panicking. And they've had a good run, which fair enough. They've got a great thing. Salah has been a revelation. I didn't think he'd be. I just thought he'd be a bad buy. But he's been really good. He's got 24 league goals. And then you've got Mane, who's done the business in some of the big games as well. Against City, that he played well. And then you've got Firmino, or Firmino, whatever he's called. But I was quietly confident because, and I've said it on here, Chris Smalling, that absolutely terrible Smalling and Jones, but I knew that Eric Bailly was going to be back. I was hoping he wasn't just going to be on the bench. It wouldn't have been Lindelof. And Bailly was the difference for me because I guarantee and I agree, if Jones had been playing and Smalling, we probably would have got around the back of us a few times, Liverpool. But we just seemed solid. We had everything. Matic had a good game. Ashley Young had an absolute storming game. I know Rashford got man of the match, but Ashley Young was the man of the match. He had an absolute blinding game. And the first 10 minutes, I didn't think he started well, Ashley Young, but he grew as the game went on. He had a great game, kept Salah out, which he had to, because they're a danger man, Salah. There's no two ways about it. He's a good player on his day. So, but yeah, it all worked out well. We went 2-0 up. I think Mata was being a bit extravagant and going for the overhead kick. I know he was going for the Anfield goal from a few years ago, but I think he even had time to chip that. I know it's easier said than done, but we just executed the plan in the first half. It worked well. We closed them down. We pressed them. I didn't think we could keep that up for 90 minutes, but the damage had been done. I mean, they didn't even have a one shot on target the whole game. They had a lot of possession, and I must admit, in the second half, I didn't like the way we sat off. And Emre Can, he seemed to always have the ball. He seemed to always go through him, but he just didn't have it around him to do it. There was no space for him a lot of the time. And I know we rolled our luck and Sideshow Bob come on, but as soon as he come on, I just knew it was just going to be a disaster of elbows, kicks, throwing people on the floor. He's going to hit the deck himself. And that's exactly what he did. And, looking back, I'm fair to say, I think it was a penalty. But also the thing with Valencia when he's done the Kung Fu kick. But I'll be honest with you, could have happened to a better team. So it's one of them things. They thought they were going to beat us. We've done that before. We've gone to Anfield and you're riding the crest of a wave. You think you're going to beat them 4 or 5-0, and then you come away and you've got beat 1-0 or 2-0. It's just the way it is. It's a derby. And I think it helps us out. And if City weren't doing so well, it'd be a great season for us. We'd be top now if we're going off last season's effort. So it is what it is. City has stepped up. So I'm happy with what's happened. I'm not going to get too carried away because Tottenham are only 4 points behind us and Liverpool are only 5. It just gives us a bit of breathing space, and pretty much the top 4 is guaranteed. And we'd be stupid now if we didn't guarantee second place. But there's a lot of games to play yet. We've still got 7 or 8 games, so I think it's 8 games left. So we'll see. Well, it is what it is. So I'm not gloated too much. I'm happy with the way United played. I'm happy, but we've got to do that consistently because the second half was a part of the bus to a point. He was trying to catch him on the break, but we went that deep, an introvert within ourselves, that it was frustrating being there, because you were just hoping. There was a lot of daft passes on the edge of the box and people giving the ball away when they could have, created something. I'm not saying we would have scored, but it is what it is. And I'm really happy, as the smile dictates. Everyone's watching on YouTube. A couple of things. Well, one other thing that's broke over the last night was, when I got this morning about 4 o'clock, was Jamie Carragher, the wonderful Jamie Carragher, Everton supporter, stroke Liverpool player, spitting at father and daughter. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty certain that this video's been edited and doctored, and there's all sorts of stuff. But I've been spat in the face twice. One of them I couldn't catch him, and the other one I could. And I guarantee, if I'd have been spat in my face, it's the only thing that's a bit sus. I'd have gone after that. I would have gone after him. I know it's a car situation, so it's not actually directly in your face, but I've had it done in my face twice. One when I was a kid, like I said, once when an adult, and I will never ever let anyone do it again. And it's just one of them things. It's disgusting. So, irrespective of my United glasses and goggles or whatever, I don't think he should lose his job, but it sets a precedent, and it doesn't stand him in good stead, and that's all I'm going to say on it. So, anyway, we're looking at coming to the end, really. UFC-wise, we've got UFC 223. Now, there's an event I've actually missed off. There's an event this weekend in London. It's UFC Fight Night, it is, and it's Fabrizio Verdum v Volkov. It is heavyweight. I think Verdum will win that if he gets him to the ground. Volkov's had a couple of good fights, knockouts and stuff, but there's a chance that if he doesn't go to the ground, he could get Verdum. I just think Verdum's too good for him, and he's got too much for him. So that's going to be a good little event. And I know Jimmy Manuwa, he's from the UK. He's a light heavyweight. He's had a bit of a bad run recently. He got knocked out by Ostermeyer, who Daniel Cormier beat. He knocked him out in about a minute. So he's fighting in London, but with his hometown, he's going to be a good one. So I'll be reporting on that next week, and I'll be doing my UFC breakdown. So I'm going to watch all the fights from that. There's no one else really to notice. If you're not into the mainstream fighting, there's not a lot of names that people are going to know. So I'll keep it all together, and I'll do a bit of a review next week with next week's episode. So this has now been episode 37. I just want to do a quick plug for my other podcast, Comics in Motion. You can contact us at comicsinmotionpodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter at comicsinmotionp. Give us a shout, give us a follow. We're on episode 4 at the moment. We've just finished off last week with the Black Panther. Really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Dave give it a 5. There's a couple of issues, but I think I need to watch it again to give it another score. And then we do like a week of facts and interactions with people and get asked a lot of questions. So try and fact find and put stuff up. But that seems to be getting well received on Twitter. And then now this week we've gone for the Kingsman Secret Service. Never seen it first time round. It's always been on my radar, and we've both really, really enjoyed it. So if you get a chance, the podcasts are up on iTunes, Stitcher, podcast.com, all other podcast formats, and give us a listen, see what you think, and just give us a follow on Twitter. And please, if you can, for the Contextual Podcast and Comics in Motion, can you give myself a review on iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud, wherever you listen to it. Just helps the podcast get recognised. Hopefully, you know, good reviews. I'm always like good reviews, but I'm also open for any sort of constructive criticism. So give us a shout. Don't know when Steve-O's going to come back on. He's had more flakes than Cadbury's, that lad. So we'll see. I've got Andrew lined up, and I've got a couple of other guests. I think I'm doing Bibby's podcast in the next week or so. Who'd come on episode 35. So we'll have a good chat about footy again and pairs and things like that. So I'll post the links for his podcast. So give Bibby a follow as well on Twitter. He's always liking and retweeting my stuff. Okay, so this has been episode 37. I have been Chris Phelps, aka Hulkamania78. If you want to play online with us on PUBG or any of the other games, my gamer tag's Hulkamania78 on Xbox, PS4, everything else. Okay, take care. Bye.